UEFA has completely lost faith in Gianni Infantino. This is no pundit or sports journalist. That is UEFA, the massive governing body of European soccer representing 55 nations and the absolute best players on earth. They put those exact words in a formal, official statement on Saturday. The current FIFA leadership has completely lost the confidence of UEFA, along with almost every other major member of the wider global soccer family. This is no simple criticism, it is an outright declaration. And this comes barely 24 hours after Infantino was forced to completely abandon the most ambitious plan of his entire presidency, just 72 hours after the whole soccer world turned against it all at once. Here is exactly what went down over those 4 days. On Monday, Infantino officially announced FIFA Forward Enterprise, a $20 billion commercial entity designed to sell minority stakes in World Cup rights to private investors. UEFA immediately voted 55-0 to boycott the next World Cup if the plan proceeded. CONCACAF quickly opposed it. The Asian Football Confederation rejected it. The European leagues blasted the move as reckless. Meanwhile, the players' union FIFPro warned it would reduce soccer to a mere investable asset for private capital. A former U.S. soccer president literally resigned in protest. Even Andy Burnham, the UK Prime Minister, issued a public statement declaring that the World Cup is not just some product. By Friday night, Infantino was forced to pull the plan completely, claiming it had created deep divisions of a nature that were no longer in the interest of their shared objective. From announcement to collapse, 72 hours. UEFA's Saturday statement did not celebrate this sudden withdrawal. We simply cannot keep going on like this with secret schemes on fast-track timelines, cooked up in private by entirely faceless individuals with highly dubious benefits to the actual game. We must identify the people responsible and hold them fully accountable. The statement then quoted Infantino's very own words from when he was first elected back in 2016, saying that, of course, we must be transparent, and the money of FIFA is your money. It is not the personal money of the FIFA president. UEFA's verdict on both these promises is that he has completely failed to deliver. The shabby, backroom, and completely opaque deal he secretly hatched and tried to force through was absolutely anything but transparent. UEFA President Alexander Ceferin did not attend the 2026 World Cup final. That specific decision, widely noted at the time, now reads entirely differently. This is a man who has been quietly building a major case. The FFE collapse has finally given him the perfect moment to make it publicly. The next FIFA presidential election is scheduled for March 18th. Infantino fully expected to be re-elected unopposed, just like in 2019 and 2023. That expectation is now completely gone. The last person to actually unseat a sitting FIFA president in an election was João Havelange, who ousted Sir Stanley Rouse back in 1974. For the very first time since then, a sitting FIFA president faces the very real prospect of a contested election he might actually lose. 3 key names are already in circulation. Nasser Al-Khelaifi, president of Paris Saint-Germain and chair of the European Football Clubs Association, is now being actively mooted within UEFA circles as a major challenger. A source close to Al-Khelaifi told the BBC that he has absolutely no personal interest in seeking the FIFA presidency. The Independent reports UEFA members are pushing him anyway. Sheikh Salman bin Ebrahim Al Khalifa, president of the Asian Football Confederation, is another serious option. He lost to Infantino in 2016, 88-115. He signed off on the AFC's total opposition to the FFE, carrying 46 member associations with him. The very man who lost to Infantino 10 years ago is now leading the entire continent that abandoned him. Victor Montagliani, the current CONCACAF president, is already described as making moves toward challenging Infantino this coming March. He was unanimously re-elected to lead CONCACAF back in 2023 and has managed the political pressures of soccer far more carefully than Infantino ever managed FIFA's. The big question being asked in every single federation boardroom this weekend is not whether Infantino actually faces a serious challenge. No, it is whether he even survives long enough to face one. UEFA's statement called for those responsible for the FFE plan to be identified and held fully to account. That serious language clearly implies an investigation. FIFA's Independent Ethics Committee, which is the very same body that famously removed Sepp Blatter, is fully authorized to open official proceedings against sitting presidents. No formal process has been announced yet. But UEFA has now publicly called for full accountability, specifically naming the FIFA president as the exact person who failed to deliver on his core promises. That is not just some background noise. This is the clear beginning of a formal process being openly demanded in public. Infantino's own defense of FFE was that it would have doubled funding for FIFA's 211 member associations, from $8 million to $20 million each. That argument still carries genuine weight with the smaller federations throughout Africa and Asia, and the Pacific whose entire local soccer programs run almost entirely on FIFA's distribution money. Here is the raw political reality of how FIFA voting actually works. Europe controls 55 votes, but that cannot run the Congress. Africa has 54 and Asia has 47. If those smaller associations believe Infantino's proposal would have delivered for them, and that UEFA blocked it out of pure European self-interest, his support base outside of Europe might still hold. That is the high-stakes calculation Infantino is making this weekend. It is the exact same calculation his potential rivals are making right now. But since Monday, the real nature of the damage has fundamentally changed. FIFA has survived ugly scandals before: Qatar, Russia, the Blatter era, and massive corruption indictments. It survived because 211 member associations, mostly dependent on FIFA money, kept re-electing whoever was currently in charge. Infantino was elected specifically to clean up after Blatter. Now UEFA has told him in formal, written terms that he has completely failed to deliver on the transparencies and honesty he promised when he first took over the job. UEFA voted 55-0 to completely boycott the World Cup he runs, a stunning act of rebellion that no FIFA president has ever faced before. Not Haviland, not Blatter, not anyone. The November 18th candidate declaration deadline is the only number that really matters right now. If a credible challenger finally declares, Sheikh Salman Managyani or someone not yet named, Infantino faces a real campaign. If nobody does, he will be re-elected unopposed for a fourth term, despite completely losing the confidence of the very organization that produces all the players, the coaches, and the massive audiences that make his sport worth running. Either outcome completely defines what soccer's governance actually is. Because between now and November 18th, this high-stakes story will shift every single week, with critical developments breaking the very moment they actually happen.